Hi everyone, and welcome back to a brand new speed build. Today I have a kind of different video because in today's video I'm going to show you how I use the T.O.O.L mod and the Better BuildBuy mod by the absolutely amazing TwistedMexi. So I don't normally do these types of videos, normally I just do speed builds, but I've been getting so many questions about how I use the T.O.O.L mod and how I do certain things within my builds, and I've gotten some questions if I can even make a tutorial about it, so I thought I would try. We'll see how this goes. Again, this is not the type of video I usually make, but I thought I would at least give it a try. So in today's video, like I said, I'm going to go over how I use these two mods in my game. Now everyone can use these mods a little bit differently. This is how just I use them in my game and like specific things that I like to use them for. So I am soon going to show you how to install these two mods and how they then work. But before that, I just thought I would give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what you might like see and learn in this video. So it's going to be very simple. If you know the T.O.O.L mod already, this is going to be a very simple video. Like, I'm not going to go into detail about super I don't know, like super specific things. It's just going to be like simple things that I use in my build to just make my builds a little bit better in my opinion. So you can see a couple of things in this screen we're looking at right now, the things I'm going to be showing you. For instance, these are some of the things again that I use the T.O.O.L mod for the most, and then I'm also going to go a little bit into the Better BuildBuy mod, but mostly this is going to be about the T.O.O.L mod because I feel like that's the one that is most complicated for people. So I wanted to show off a few different things that I use it for. I think mainly I want to show off how you can lower mirrors, for example, because in the game you can make mirrors higher, but if they're already set on a specific height like this one, you can't make it go lower. Like, you can press the 0 key all you want and it will not go lower. However, you can make it go higher, but you can't make it go lower than it's already supposed to do. So with the T.O.O.L mod, you can make it go to the height you want. So for instance, if you have a side table, you can make it go to this height, or height? This height, and not height. You can make it go to this height. Why do I keep wanting to say height? I don't know. Anyways, or like if you have maybe a sink in a bathroom or something like that and you want a mirror specific height, you can do that. Something I also very much use it for is for flower boxes. Now this one I realize now it might be a little bit too big, but let's say you want to use this flower box and it's a little bit too small, and if you press the bracket keys to make it bigger, it might be way too big. So maybe you want to make it into just one specific size that fits your window. You can do that with the T.O.O.L mod. Then this is probably the thing that I've been getting the most questions about, and that is how I put pictures and other clutter on a fridge. So I'm going to show you how I also put some post-it notes on it, but specifically I'm going to go over how I am able to put this painting that is normally just like, you know, clicking to a wall. So if you're trying to put it, it's not going to work very well because it's just going to click to the wall, but how I put it on a fridge and how I then rotate it and just make it look a little bit more realistic. And then also, this one might not be like a huge thing, but this is something that I see that makes a difference in my game, and that is just that if you want to put pillows, normally this is how you would do it, but they're just straight, they're not leaning, they're just very straight. These ones, they're leaning a little bit more and it looks a little bit more realistic, so I'm going to go over that as well. And then something that is really big for me is a rug placement. Now some of you might think that this rug is already a good size. Personally, I would like it a little bit bigger. For example, if I have like a round table like this, so I made it a little bit bigger, and same with this plant on top, and these are just like things that I can do. Like, you can literally do what I'm going to show you onto any and every object, with some exceptions which I'm also going to go through, but normally you can do it with any object. And this is also something I usually do, is this specific rug. I love this rug. I use it all the time under beds just because I feel like it looks perfect for it, but I feel like originally it might be a little bit too big for a normal room, and sometimes if I want to put like the smaller version that you can do in game by just pressing the bracket keys, it's a little bit too small, so I like to make it into this specific size. So I'm going to go over this and also some other things, and also have some tips and tricks on specific height levels and curve levels and stuff like that to be a little bit of a cheat key for you guys. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go over in today's video. So, like I said before, these mods are made by the absolutely amazing TwistedMexi, which they are a god, and they have so many different mods that I use in my game. I don't use a lot of different mods normally, but I do use their mods because they're absolutely amazing. So I will leave a link to twistedmexi.com in the description box, but also, of course, it's just twistedmexi.com, and this is their website. So if you go to this is where you will get, and then if you go a little bit lower, you can see the recent mod and updates. I usually just find the mods here because they're normally on this screen. So we're again today going to go over T.O.O.L and a little bit of Better BuildBuy, but mostly just T.O.O.L. And then they do also have some searchable like post player, more rentals, and you can have like searchable restaurant menus and better inventory, and they have like so many different things. Like if you go to view all, you can see like they have so many different mods that are absolutely amazing, and they just make everything so simple in the game. And it's just like quality of life things. Like they don't normally like change specific things, but they're just so good. So like I said, today we're going to go over the T.O.O.L mod and the Better Build and Buy It mod. So to download both of these, you just go to the download, and then if this is your first time ever doing it, TwistedMexi does have a like demo here, and I also do believe that on their channel they have a video like going through how to use the T.O.O.L mod. So again, you can watch that to maybe get some more, I don't know, info. In today's video, I'm just going to go over how I use it in my builds. So today's going to be very like centered around how I use it for myself. So here you can see there are different updates and stuff like that to the T.O.O.L mod. This does have to be updated. Not every time there's a new update, but if there's a new like expansion pack or anything like that, it has to be updated. And normally they are very on it, and the updates come up so quickly, which I'm telling you, they're a god. But yeah, you can go here and it's just really simple. Again, there is some instructions and how to use and stuff like that, and then you just click this and it downloads it directly. And the same with the Better Build and Buy mod. Anyways, then we have the Better Build and Buy mod, which again, you can just see like some patch notes. And again, if there are some things here, like if you have had this mod before, and there is a new game pack, expansion pack, you know, whatever, you might have to go through to this and turn it on and off again to just like make it work for your game, because sometimes not everything will be sorted, but so that's just a thing you have to do. And again, there's just some updates and overall like how to use it and features and stuff like that. So if you scroll down here, you can just click on this and it will download. These things will then go into your downloads folder. So here you can double click on them and then it's this that you want. So you can just put cut. You don't need the entire thing. If you just put the zip file in, it's not going to work. You need to open the zip file by double clicking it, or I believe you can also just do open, but it's easier to just double click it. And so then you cut it and then you put it into your mods folder. And the same with the Better Build and Buy mod. And it even says here, like drag the folder up. So then you go into your mods folder, which you can find through documents, electronic arts, The Sims 4, and then mods. I have already done this because I'm scared that I'm accidentally going to show you things that I don't want you to see, like, you know, names or anything like that. So I've just already done this, but this is how you can find the mods folder. Normally you can just go into like electronic arts here, The Sims 4, and then it's mods, and then here you are. Now I have my mods organized in the specific way. You don't have to. I already have the 2 mods installed, so I'm not going to install them again, although I guess I just downloaded them, but I'm not going to install them again. But here you can see that it says T.O.O.L, Better Build and Buy, and then T.O.O.L, and those are the 2 that we're going to be going through today. So then you can just start your game. Okay, so now we are in the game again. So the first thing I'm going to go through is a little bit of the Better Build and Buy mod, because I am only going to go through it briefly. Again, today I'm mostly going to be focusing on the T.O.O.L mod, but these mods do interact with each other sometimes, so I thought I was going to go through both of them. So when you go first into your game, you're going to need to turn on Organized Debug, which you can do if you just go to this little drop down menu, which you can, you know, select packs and styles and, you know, all of that. At the bottom, there's going to be a Better Build and Buy mod section, and then you are going to have to put Organized Debug on. When you do this, there's going to be a message you can see it now, but if I turn this on now, there's going to be a message that you have to turn this on, and then you will have to restart your game. So after you put that on, then you need to restart your game. Now I don't need to because I just turned it off and on right now, but for the first time you're gonna have to turn it on, restart your game, and then you can use it. So the absolutely amazing thing with this mod is that you can have move objects on automatically. You do not need to put up the sheet menu and put bb.moveObjects on. You can just have that. And the same thing with ignore unlocks and delete protection. So delete protection I almost never use. It's so that if you were to accidentally delete something, it won't actually delete it. I have never used it myself because when I want to delete something, I want to delete something. But that could be good to have on if you do have trouble with sometimes deleting things that you don't want to delete. And then you can also, again, have ignore unlocks, which makes it so that like career unlocks and stuff like that will automatically be unlocked, which I absolutely love. And then, of course, the whole thing with the Better BuildBuy mod is that you can have this. So if you go to content, you can do a bunch of different things here. So for instance, if you are like me and you use the red shelf to clutter things, you might see that it is not here. Normally it will be the first thing here, it's not here. That's because you need to turn custom content on, and then it will be right here. It was not first, but it was almost first. It will be right here, and this will be very handy if you do use a lot of custom content, but then if you want to find something just through custom content things or just through the regular like EA things, you can turn this on and off and you can see all your custom content. And then the same with hide maxes. Hide maxes. You can see now I will only see my custom content, which is again great if you're building with custom content and you just want to use the custom content and you just want to filter through that. You can do that very easily. But yeah, I always have custom content on because normally in my game I only have the red shelf in my game, but whenever I do build with custom content, I like to use these two features more because they just help a lot. And then these two, debug and live edit, are the main things. So if you didn't know, in The Sims 4 we have a debug menu for both regular debug things and then live edit debug menu. So the live edit debug menu you can see is for things that are around the world. So for instance, you can see later that we will find these bushes and stuff like that, and like these fences you're going to be able to access through the live edit menu. And then debug menu can be anything you use in game, like it can be a remote, it can be a vegetable, a glass, or whatever that you can't find here. And normally you have to put up the cheat menu right here, and then you have to type in bb.show hidden objects and then on. And then normally it's on like that, and then you would press enter, but I'm not going to do that now because I don't need to. But normally you have to do that. However, with this, you can just press debug, and it will already be sorted for you. Normally, if you again use that cheat, it will come up with a long menu, it's not sorted, nothing is named, it can be a nightmare to sift through. Here, everything's already sorted. So you're going to be able to play around with this and find out where things are. But for instance, if I want a remote, I know I can go to electronics and then I can just go to the miscellaneous. There's a remote. You can find it very easily. Do you see that? There's just a remote. You don't have to go through that entire long menu to find it. Also, it is named. So if I were to search remote, if I can spell, it will come up here. And you can just find it. And it's so easy. It's so good. I use it all the time for everything and anything. Again, and the debug section, that will, again, just turn on things that you will find throughout the game. Like things that you will, use in the game. However, if you then put on live edit as well, you don't have to have the debug one to show live edit things. Then, if you can find things that you can find throughout the world. Like, if you want that, you can find that. If you want a wheelbarrow, here you go, you have that. And again, these are also named, which I don't know how TwistedMexi did this, but they're absolutely amazing for doing it, and it helps with decorating and cluttering so much because you can clutter up things so much easier. And also, most of these are free, so when doing starter homes, you can use these things and they're mostly free. And also, something that I will show later on is that if you have the debug section on, that's where you can find this kid's painting, by the way, that I'm going to use later on, which I, again, will probably go over. But, like, you can find these, like, hand handprints, whatever, that are from different things, and like the marriage certificate and stuff like that. So you can find so many good things in the debug menu. And the thing that I probably use it the most for is this, which is the landscaping section. So if I'm going to turn off debug because I just want the live edit. But here you will have everything and anything you need. And you can landscape to your heart's content. Like, let's say you want a tree that we don't get with an actual pack, but like you see in the surrounding areas, we have it. We have different versions of it that we don't get. Like, for instance, this tree with the new Lovestruck EP that we just got, this tree we do have, but we have a small version. But this one is free and you can use it, and it's bigger. And again, it's free, so if you're doing a what's it called, like a starter home or anything like that, you can use that to get some beautiful landscaping. And it's very simple. It's just to sift through and you can find anything and everything. Like, I love using these like rose bushes that we got from Cottage Living. But oh my god, that sound was so horrible. I'm sorry. But yeah, I love using these rose bushes, and you can use them now, like, they don't cost money. You don't have to go through that entire long menu. You know where they are. It's just so handy. And then also another thing that I know people have been asking about earlier, or not earlier, but before I've gotten this question, I've seen people asking about it on Twitter and stuff like that. It's where you can find these little pathway stones. They're here. They're in the stone section. So again, if you have like the live edit section on, you can just find these. So again, if you then are like, oh, but I don't want the entire like live edit menu in my game, like it's gonna, like the entire time I'm building, like it's gonna be too much, like I can't find anything, you can just toggle it off and on. Like, look, you can just toggle it off and on, and it's so handy and it's so good, and I absolutely love it. So with this mod is that you can just like use it however you want. But anyways, moving on to the tool mod. So again, this video is mostly going to focus on the tool mod, but I wanted to show off the Better BuildBuy mod as well because I have gotten some questions about it, and it is an absolutely amazing mod and I love it so much. So to bring up the tool mod, all you have to do is press Shift T, and then you will get it up. Normally you will get it up here. The way you can change where you want it is that you will go to, normally you get here, and then you go to Options, change settings, and then set dialog position. So if we put it center, it will be here, and if we, for instance, want it like top, it's here. This is the default one, so whenever you go into the game, whenever you download the tool mod, it's going to be here. But then I prefer to have it in the top left because then I can see what's going on most of the screen, and I just prefer to have it here, but you can have it in a lot of different spaces. And then I usually don't use any of these. Again, today is going to be very simple, and I don't use all of the tool mod's features. If you want to see more of how to use the tool mod, in the TwistedMexi video, I'm pretty sure that they go through how to use it more, but I'm just going to show you the basic things that I use it for. So here, if you go to, again, this is the default one, so again, if you press Shift T, it will disappear again. If you press Shift T again, it will get up here. So if you go here, you can see that we have a few different things we can do. We can move, which will bring up, well, normally it will bring up a grid, which I don't know if it's because we're outside where there's not a room, but normally it will put up a grid. I don't use this feature that much. It's not something that I prefer to use. I know some people use it. I just personally have never used it, so I'm not going to go through that. But then we have elevate, which I'm going to show you later how you can elevate objects, and I'm also going to give you some cheat, like not cheat, but like some elevation like points to reference, so you can know like usually how much each step is. Just it will make more sense when I go through it later. But then there's also rotate, which here I'm also going to go through when I'm doing like pillows and stuff like that. But then you can like change the axis, and you can, you know, reset and everything. And then there's also scale, which you can do between 0 and 25, and you can do so many things. Like if you want something to be at like 0.0002, you can do that. It will work. And that is what I love with this mod, is that you can make whatever you want. Again, within the game, we already have some sizing options with the bracket keys, but it just, sometimes it's too big, it's too small, you want it to be like a specific exact size, and you can do that with the tool mod, which is absolutely amazing. So to select something and to like use the tool mod is that obviously again you need to press Shift T to bring it up. Also, sorry if you can hear me type on my keyboard when I'm doing this, or my mouse. I'm not sure if my mic is picking that up, and if it is, I am so sorry. I do have a very clicky keyboard. But anyways, let's say that you again want to resize this plant, like planter box here. To be able to do that, you can't just magically like do scale and then like it will know what you mean. You have to select it, and you select it by just pressing on it. You will know if something is selected by if it's green. That's how you know. Also, you can select several things. So if you want to select, for instance, like this and then also this, like say you have a bunch of different flower boxes and you don't want to go through individually and size them up, you can just alt press and it will select everything. So like I can alt press everything here. And then if I want to like deselect everything, you don't have to go through all of them again. You can by just like alt pressing again, but that's going to take forever. Normally I just press that and it will just go to whatever. So let's again say that I have all of these alt pressed and I have all of them selected, and then I just want to deselect all of them. I can just press this and then it will just deselect them, and it's very easy. But again, let's say that I want to resize this. I select it, and when it's green, it will work. Again, if you hover over it, it will stop being green, so you can kind of like see exactly where it is, but it will still be selected. And so then you go to scale, and here you can do whatever you want. And 1 is its normal. So if I do 1 now, nothing is going to happen because that is its default. If you want it smaller, you have to go to 0. Whatever, and you have to do 0 point. You can't do 0 comma, it has to be 0 point. Trust me, I've made that mistake many a time. So 0 point, not 0 comma. So 0.9, for example, is going to make it a little bit smaller and stuff like that. And if you ever wonder, okay, let's size this back up to what it's normally at. If you ever wonder what the difference between like how precise you can be, so if I just press a bracket key here, I can make it smaller, which by the way, I might have mentioned the bracket keys. I'm saying bracket keys because I'm pretty sure that is the keys you need to press to size things down and up. Personally, I have a Nordic keyboard, so my keys are going to be a little bit different. Just Google what your keyboard is. If you have a quote-unquote like normal English keyboard, I'm pretty sure it will be the bracket keys. If you have a Nordic keyboard, it's going to be a little bit different, so you can just Google which ones you have. But let's say you, again, I sized this down with the bracket keys, and if you're ever wondering like what is that size, for instance, if I use this now, that will be 0.75. Now you can see that these two are the exact same size. They're the exact same size, so it will be 0.75. And then the next size, let's see here. Also, another thing, if you're in this, you can't, like, I'm pressing Shift T right now, the tool object, like this dialog, will not disappear. You have to do cancel and be in this to make it disappear. So if you're ever wondering why I'm clicking cancel, like going back to that to make it disappear, that is why you can't make it disappear otherwise. Then let's see if I want to again size this down even more with the bracket key, that will be 0.5. So if I put 0.5, it will be to this. And it might look like it's a little bit smaller, at least to my eyes it is, but if you take them over each other, you can see that they are the exact same size. So again, if you ever wonder what exactly you can do, that is it. So let's say that if you have it sized down to like 2 sizes down, which is 0.5, but you want it just a little bit bigger, you can do like 0.6 and it will just be a little bit bigger. And so that's how I usually use it, why I use this more than I use the bracket keys, because you can be so exact. Even if I wanted 0.65, like I want it that big, or if I wanted 0.88, it won't be that. So you can size it to exactly how you want. Hi, so this is Editing Mal here. I was just editing the video and I realized that I did not go through one thing. So like I just mentioned, if you were to size this down with the bracket keys, it goes by 0.5. 0.25, like minus 0.25. So this will be 0.75, like I just mentioned. However, when it comes to scale, like going up in the scale, that is not true. So if I, like, this is its original size, right? So this is its original size. But if I were to size it up with the bracket key, that is not 1.25. That is actually 2. So in the tool mod, if I were to go to here, like again, 1 is its default size, and then 2 will be its double size from the bracket keys. So when it comes to sizing up objects, the tool mod is so helpful because for some reason the Sims team just want things to be huge when doing that. I don't know why, but they just do. So if I like want something to be like, I don't know, half as big, I can do 1.5 and it will be like half as big. So I just thought I'd mention that because I feel like I might have been a little bit unclear, but yeah, when going up sizes it doubles. When going down it's minus 0.25 each time. So it's a little bit confusing maybe, but that is how it is. I promise it will get easier as you're using the mod, but yeah, so again, if I were to double this normally with the bracket key, if I just go to that, that will equal to 2 and not 1.25 because that's 1.25. So you can see it's not exact. Now, one thing that I wanted to show you, like when this might be a good thing to use, is in this situation. Here we have a bed and we have this wall decoration that is from the Love Struck EP, which is one of these swatches right here. And we have this little wall decal, and you can see that I want it behind the bed, but I want it to be all the way out to the edge. Like I want them to match up. I don't want there to be this weird little gap. Like I want them to completely match up. So then you can just go through and let's say, again, this is the default. So if you press 1.2, for example, it will size it up that much. Now you can see automatically that is a little bit big. So I will just like, honestly, I do this through trial and error a lot of the time because sometimes you don't know exactly how much. Some things you will kind of just learn. And again, I'm going to give you a little bit of a cheat code later on. But again, some things you just have to do through trial and error. So we know that 1.2 was too big. Let's try 1.5. Is that a good size? Let's see. I think it's a little bit too big. You see it there? It's still a little bit out there. So I'm gonna go to 1.114 because I think it did 1.15. I don't completely remember, but you know, and I can just do that until I find it that I want, like, you know, the exact one I want. I just confused myself. But yeah, I can just do that. So again, that's an example of like when it's really good to have this option. And here you can see it's still a little bit too big actually. So there's just like a good way to show like when you might want to use those like decimal points and stuff like that to size things up and down. So the next thing I'm going to be going through is the elevation. So for example, right here you can see that this is the default mirror position. Like I mentioned before, you can't make it go any lower. I'm pressing 0, it's not doing anything. I can make it go higher with the 9 key, but I can't make it go lower. And that's just because the Sims team is, or the Sims, not the Sims team per se, but the Sims, the game in itself is a little bit of a pain sometimes. So you can just press, again, Shift T, go to elevate, and then again, select what you want. And then you can, again, through trial and error, kind of go through like 0.5. It will elevate it that much. So elevation is pretty simple. It will go through, again, whatever you want. However, with elevation, I do have, like, again, like I mentioned before, some like kind of cheat codes to know whatever you want. When it comes to like mirrors and stuff like that, trial and error normally. After a while, you do kind of get a feeling. So normally I will know around how much I need to do, but it takes some time. Like I've used the tool mod for like 2 or 3 years now, so it's kind of in my bones at this point. But if you're just starting out, trial and error is the best way to go, honestly, like 100%. But there are some cheat codes for some things. So let's say that, for instance, if you have a platform here, or honestly, even if you just what's it called, use it as a like foundation, like if you rice up a foundation, that is the same height as one platform, if that makes sense. And one platform, like one step up I feel like I'm explaining this really weirdly. But like one step up on a platform or one step up on a foundation. You can see here, like when I did that, these two are the same height. That will be 0.25, which that might be a little bit weird to remember, but let's say, for instance, that I have a platform. I usually do this when it comes to like porches and stuff like that. Let's say that I have a platform or again a foundation, and I want to place this thing, but I want to place it right here, which I wouldn't because it would clip, but let's say that this is the case for something. And if you want this to be on the ground, instead of just going through trial and error, this will be minus, if I can do this, minus 2.5. And you can see it's on the ground, and that is how it goes. So again, if I were to place something here, and this one is 2 steps up, so it's one more step than that one, it will be minus 0.5. There we go. So that's how it goes. So one step is 0.25, 2 steps is 0.5, and then 3 steps is 0.75. So it's a little bit of math, but it's not too hard. But again, I will put up on the screen exactly like how much each step will be. So again, for instance, if you have a foundation instead of having this as a platform, let's use this as a foundation, and maybe you just do this willy-nilly and like you don't know how many steps this is. One way you can find that out is by placing, if you have stairs, how many steps the stairs are is how many steps it is up. So this is 3. So again, if you remember, that means that if you want this to be at ground level, it's 0.75. So yeah, that's how you know. And again, if I were to press this up one more, since this will now be 4, it's just 0.2 times 4, which will be 10. So that will not be 0 point anything. It will just be -1. And it's at ground level. And that's how it goes. Again, a little bit of math, and after a while, it will just kind of sit in your bones. But that is something that after I learned that it was always the exact same elevation, it made my life so much easier. Because sometimes maybe you are landscaping, for instance, and you don't want to press like have these plants. Maybe you want a bush. If I can make a bush that will go. Okay, I found one. So this one is just a live edit one, which again, we can access through the Better BuildBuy mod. So I just picked this one, but then I sliced it down, and then let's say I want it out here. It still wants to be elevated for some reason, and I don't know why. Also, this can happen, like if you saw right here, this one is not elevated as much as this one, and that's because for some reason it's on this one's elevation. So if you're using platforms, the tool mod will be so handy for you, because some things just want to snap to a specific like elevation, and if it's a little bit even on it, it will want to be on that one and not this one. So you can, in theory, just like use the tool mod to do whatever you want, which is so handy if you're using platforms. But so again, for landscaping purposes, I usually do this. Like, let's say I want this here, but it's too high. So then again, we can remember 4 steps up. So it's -1, and boom, it's on the ground. And you can do that with, again, so many things, and it's so handy to know those specific things. And again, specifically when it comes to platforms, because sometimes it's a little bit of a pain. But yeah, that's a very easy way to do it. And again, remember, 1 step up is 0.25. But of course, you can, as I was doing with sizing, you can do it as much and as little as you want. So let's say you just want this down a little bit, 0.02, and it will go down a little bit. So the next thing I want to go over is the rotation thing. I am going to go over how to do this, don't worry, but the rotation thing is the last kind of like simple thing I want to go through, and then I'm going to go over how you can move things with the tool mod and just gravity pull things. So again, with these pillows, they look fine like this, they do, but I personally don't like it. Also, something that I realized recently is that, let's say you have like a sun lounge like this, and you want a pillow, and you like elevate it up here, but it just does not look good. Like, it's just sitting there, it's not doing anything. You want to rotate it. The way you do it here is, again, you put up Shift T, brings up the tool menu, or the tool mod dialog menu, whatever it's called. and then you just press it, rotate, and then here you can change axis, and you can see what axis it is on through this little circle. So right now, if I were to do like 50 in rotation, it's gonna rotate it in that rotation, like you said, what? Like you just saw, like it's rotating it like this, if that makes sense. So also, if you do something that you don't want to do, this is a great place to do it, because this is what I do usually with rotations, because I don't always know where like rotation is going, and it can be really hard when it comes to rotation. How many times I'm gonna say rotation, I don't know. But it can be really hard. So usually I can just do undo, and then it would do that, and also redo. Let's say I did too much undo, I want to redo. There we go. So these ones are amazing to do as well, and you can find those through, again, just if you're on the default one, options, and it will be at the top. Very easy to use. But again, with rotation, so let's see here. Let's see, again, I want to rotate it this way, if that makes sense. I don't want to do it flat like it is right now. I want to rotate it so it's backwards. Then you just press change axis, and you can see that this one changes it so that if I rotate now, it's going to rotate to the left or the right. So again, let's say I do 50. Oh, now press change axis instead. Let's go back on this. Let's say I do 50. You can see it rotated to the left there. So again, just really simple. Also, you do not have to have this selected to be able to redo and undo. Like that will just automatically happen to whatever you did last. So don't worry. But if you do rotate here, again, this is still not the axis I want. Press one more time and it will go to this axis. So also a very handy way to use this. I personally don't use this a lot because I always forget which way is which. But you can see that there is still a ring here. The ring goes underground, but there is still a ring here, I promise. And you can see that the ring is thicker there and then it's thinner there. When it's thicker, I believe that is when it goes like towards. I think I might be incorrect here, because this is why I don't use it, because normally it just confuses me. So trial and error is usually how I would do it. But let's say I wanted to go backwards. If I do 20 now, oh yeah, it will go forwards. So see, now we've learned that the thinner part, that way it will go that way, if that makes sense. So again, you can kind of see, it's kind of maybe a little bit hard to see that, but you can see that it's more green there than it is right there. Again, it's a little bit hard to see, but yeah, so you can just do that and then you will know kind of. So if you wanted to go forward and you just do 20 for like I just did, it will go there. However, if you're wondering how do you make it go backwards, let's go to here again. Then if I wanted to go this way, again, I wanted to go towards the more thicker green side, I press -20 and it will do that. Sorry if you heard any noise, that was a cat. But it will go backwards. So again, it's trial and error. Usually, again, I just kind of play around until I find the one that I want. And again, here you can see that the axis has changed a little bit now, because when the object goes backwards, for example, it's still gonna have its default, like you can see here, if I have it selected, you can see that it's not flat anymore. Oh, not what I meant to do. You can see that the like green part where you can see like the bottom of it, it's not flat anymore, it's angled because I just rotated the object. So if you're wondering why this now looks a little bit different, that is why. So again, rotation I feel like can be probably the one that is the most confusing, and that's just because it is to be honest. But again, just trial and error. So now we know that we have to do minus to make it go backwards. So again, I feel like this is still not enough of a rotation backwards. I want it to be a little bit more, so I do like -10. And so there we have it. But when it comes to specifically pillows, you can see that it's not like on this, it's under. So then I will just use the elevate feature and just do 0.5. And then you can see that it's now on there perfectly, and it will just be a little bit more realistic than if you again were to have it and then just have the default one where again it will clip in to the chair and it will just be straight up. Like, do you see the difference? It's amazing. I love it. And that's how I made this. Like, that's how I leaned those. And for this one, actually, I leaned both of these the exact same way. So I just did like I think -10 or something like that, and then they will both lean. So again, you can select all of them by alt clicking, and then you can do that. So yeah, it's very handy. And also you can twist things however you want. Like you can make things go upside down if you want, or make them go like 90 degrees. I know some people like to do, and I've done this before as well, like if you want to make maybe like a custom shelf and you want to have these two here, and then you want to have them like here, but then you want something on the side, you can use this same shelf, but just rotate it 90 degrees. And you can see that it's like this. However, because this snaps to the wall, it will automatically snap there, which brings me into the next thing I'm going to go through, which is going to be how to move objects and how to gravity pull objects. So again, let's say that I want this to be at 90 degrees, but I want it to be right here. Obviously it's not there right now, and if I were to just deselect it and move it, it will move on the wall because that's where it snaps to. So again, let's do 90 degrees because that makes it go again just for upright. If you wanted to be flipped, you do 180 and stuff like that. Again, it's a little bit of math, but it's really easy, I promise you. Again, after a while you will get the hang. So how to move things with the tool mod, which can also be a very good thing to know how to do, you just press. So right, you can see where I just pressed, like where I'm clicking, it's going there. But let's say that I want it here, but if I press here, it's gonna not go where I want. You can see like it can be very finicky to get it exactly where you want, and this is when the gravity pull feature comes in. So to press and to make it go slower and to make it go exactly, you know, where you want. So let's see if I wanted a little bit more here, but I want it to go like slowly. That's called the gravity pull, and how you do that is instead of just clicking, you alt click. So you hold on alt and you click and it will automatically drag it. Also, a thing that you will maybe find useful is that the further you are away from the object, the bigger steps it will be. So I'm alt clicking right now because it's not going like here, it's going slowly but surely. Not slowly, but it's going kind of quickly. However, if I go more like towards here, like closer to it, it will move in smaller increments. So that can be very handy again to if you want something to move a big distance, you can do that. A small distance, the closer you are to it. So again, let's say that we want the shelf to be here. I just moved it here. I just clicked because I knew I wanted it around here, which can also be a good thing. Like you can just move it to around where you want, and then you can gravity pull it to exactly where you want. So I'm just going to gravity pull it to here, and then I want it to be where that line is. I want to match up with those lines, if that makes any sense. So again, gravity pull, and then I can use the elevation section to just do like -2, and it will do that. That is too much. So again, this is completely trial and error to know how to elevate it to a specific thing. So here you can see that we made a little bit of shelf, and you have that. And let's say you can see that this part is the more textured part and this is the under part normally of the shelf. If you want to rotate that, again, just switch it to this circle, to like this orientation, to this axis. Do 180, it will switch it, and then you see it might go into the other wall. Just use the gravity pull feature again to click it into where you want. And so this might take a few clicks to get it exactly where you want. So you might hear my mouse right now, I don't know. So here you go. And now you can see again, we have the more textured part. And you might have seen me do this before. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to edit this out or not, but when I was like selecting all of these, instead of clicking just here, I probably accidentally clicked like here, and you can see things moved. So again, if this happens to you and you just like misclick when you have things selected and they just like move like this, which you don't want, again, just undo and it will get things to the right space again. And yeah, that's just, it's so handy. Again, the tool mod has so many amazing things you can do with. So editing Mal here again. I'm recording this during the day, so if you can hear any background noise, I'm so sorry. But I just thought I would mention something that I also forgot to mention in the original video that I recorded. So the tool mod is not just restricted to the lot. So normally, you know, you can't place things without, like, you see it will go red. Like, you can't place things too much outside. Normally this car is a little bit like big, so you can place it a little bit outside, but normally you can't. And with the tool mod, you can. So again, you can just select it and then you can press here. Like if you want it back here, you can. If you want it in the river, you can. I wouldn't probably recommend that, but let's say you want like a car on the street. Here you can do, and see here you can see me use the gravity pull feature again, and there we go. There it is. And to deselect, normally I would have something else like on the lot, so I can just like deselect it, because if I click here now, well, I guess I could do that, but I like to do it on the lot. But yeah, you can have like a car on the street. It can also interact with some objects around the world. Not all objects. Like again, I can't press these plants and to like get them away. Sadly, I wish that was the truth, because then I could make screenshots so much easier. But you can press something, so that's why I'm switched lot. So like if I go on this lot, I can do whatever the freaking heck I want with this. If I want to move it around, I can. If I don't want this, for instance, if I take a screenshot of this house, I don't want maybe the trash can right there, I could either just like move it out of the way, or I can just like put it like -8 and it will just be gone, or like size it down to whatever I want. Like some objects I can do that too. Not most objects, but interactable objects throughout the world you can. So yeah, it's pretty easy. You can, for example, do it with the picnic tables over here and like that. So any interactable objects you can do that with, if I'm not mistaken. I think you can even do it, yeah, you can even do it with the like ice skating rink or the roller rink or whatever this is. So yeah, you can use the tool mod outside of the lot like restricted area. However, you can't like delete this. If I like don't want this car here right now, I can't delete it. Like it won't recognize it. So what you will have to do is again move it onto the lot restriction, and then you can delete it. So that's how you can do that. So I think the final thing I'm going to go through when it comes to the tool mod before I go back to a little bit of Better Build and Buy mod is how to do this, because this I've gotten so many questions about. Normally when I have a fridge in basically any type of home, it might look something like this. Yeah, it might look something like this, where I have like a kid's drawing and some like post-it notes and stuff like that, and that's just because that is realistic to me. I don't think I've ever been into a house where there's not something on the fridge. Sadly, we do not have magnets in the game. I am hoping that one day we will, but sadly we do not as of this point. For when I'm recording this right now, we do not sadly have magnets, but we do have some post-it notes and some kids drawings that you can make go onto a fridge. So these post-it notes I've gotten some questions about before as well. How I access these are again through the Better Build and Buy mod, and they are in the debug menu. So if you just select the debug menu, I'm gonna deselect live edit right now just because I don't need it on, but if you select that, go to the paintings category, scroll down just a little bit, it will be up here. They are from the Parenthood game pack, and you can see they're these ones. And they look like they're blank, but they're not. So if you press this one, you pull it out, you might see that it's something, but it's on the ground. Press the 9 key, and you can see that it's a note. And then you can just kind of place it wherever you want. These things will not snap to a wall or anything, so that's why I'm able to just like, again, just have it wherever I want. Like if I want it there, I can press it there. And so there is, like I said before, there's this post-it note that has a few different swatches. There is a little bit of like just a regular note that has these 3 swatches, and then there is another note, which I'm pretty sure you can put these notes like on the activity board that we got from the Parenthood game pack, but I just like using these on you know, fridges like this because I feel like that's very realistic. Maybe it's a recipe, maybe it's a note to someone in the family, I don't know. But then the other thing that I love doing is, again, putting a drawing on. Normally, I will put this kid's drawing that we got from the debug menu from the Growing Together expansion pack, which again I showed you before. It's also a debug menus or debug item, and this will not be in the paintings category. For some reason it's in the wall decoration category, and it's just called school drawings. So if I were to search for drawing, you'll see it. It's right here. It's very simple, but because this is a wall decoration, it will snap to the wall. So if I want to have this on the fridge, it won't go. Like, it won't go there because it will automatically snap to the wall behind it. One way you can do this is to delete the wall, and then you can kind of like press the 9 key and have it up here and stuff like that. But that means deleting the wall, which can sometimes be more of a pain, and it might delete some objects. Sometimes that happens as well. Maybe that's when you can use the delete protection that I was talking about before. That is down here. I'm not actually sure. I've never tested that, but that might actually be why. But anyways, okay, you can use that, but I prefer to just use the tool mod and the gravity pull features because it just makes things much more easier. So if let's say, by the way, like this drawing is just another swatch of this, if you're wondering. But yeah, if I want to have this here, I will usually just put the painting like in front of it, kind of. And like it's not snapping to the wall, so it's a little bit out there. I will just select it, and then I will not press any of these yet. I will just use the gravity pull feature. Now, usually just press on the wall behind as a reference, because you need a reference. And you can see, because I am pressing higher than it was, like it was on the ground here, because I'm pressing higher, it will also elevate with the gravity pull feature. So if I were to again have it here and just press on the ground, it will still be in the ground. But if I were to press like higher up, it will slowly but surely go up, you see. And then again, it will just use the gravity pull feature to press it, or to like have it exactly as on the fridge as I want it. So here you can see it's starting to be there. It's still a little bit too close. So here you can see, this is how I usually do it. I usually don't go to the side to just check. You can see like here it's too close, like it's in the fridge now, and we don't want that. So then I just press a little bit here, and here you can see it is. So then I usually think that this drawing is a little bit big, so I usually size it down to like 0.85. And then because I sized it down, it will go into the fridge again. It has not disappeared. But yeah, because it's not disappeared, it's just because I sized it down, it went into the fridge, so I can just press out a little bit again, and there it is. And then I personally like to have a little bit of a rotation on it, because again, I just find that realistic. Like usually you have like a kid's drawing or something like that, like up on the fridge, it will be with a magnet, and magnets are not always the most stable things, so they will kind of just rotate throughout the days. Like as you open a fridge door, it will just rotate, so I prefer to usually have it a little bit rotated. And so then I just do like -5 is my normal, because I know that rotation, and here it is. And again, here you can see that it goes up a little bit, up like at the divider, which I personally don't like. You can have it there if you want to. I will just use a little bit of elevation to just have it in place, and that is how I do that. I've gotten some questions about it before, especially I think on TikTok when I do stop motion videos about it. But yeah, that's how I do that. And it's very simple. It's very easy to do, and again, I just do it like doing it. So this is editing Mal once again, but I did realize when I was editing that I forgot to mention one very important thing. To be honest, I did not have the video scripted when I did it. I just kind of knew, you know, in my head what I was going to talk about, so I forgot a few things, but editing Mal is here to save the day. But one of the things I want to talk about is how you clone objects, which might seem like, why would you want to do that, but it can be really, really helpful. So I'm going to do basic one with this and this. So this light is something I do for a lot of different backyards, for example, and you can use this method for literally anything. It does not have to be that. But let's see that you have sized this light to exactly what you wanted, and it works perfectly. And maybe it's like, I don't know, 0.65. I don't know if you want it that small, but maybe you do. And maybe now when you go to like add more, you don't remember what the size you decided to use is. So then you can, instead of just like trying to like trial and error, so like going like oh, I think it was like 0.6 something or whatever. And then you can always see that it's not. Obviously, when it's 0.65, it's kind of an easy number to remember. But sometimes you do like 0.652 or like 0.238, like, you know, just random numbers, and you can't always remember them. And so instead of just like figuring that out, you can't actually clone this. So the way you do it is, again, with tool mod, you just mark the thing and then you shift alt. So what, I don't know why I said in that order, but you press alt and shift and then press it again, and that will make a duplicate. So then you just, you know, press whatever, and then you can see here there are 2 now. And you can do this like as many times as you want. Like I'm spamming right now, so afterwards you will see there are gonna be a lot. And you don't just have to do the way I did, where like I go out and then, you know, do that. You can also just now I have so many on this, I'm gonna do it on this one. But you can just press that, and then you can just press there, and then the original one will still be in one place, but this one will be here. And the same goes for if you have more of a like custom thing you've built. So this is obviously just one object, but let's say that you have, I don't know, a custom bed or whatever. I just made the simplest thing I could think of. But let's say you've made something very intricate with the tool mod, like you've rotated stuff and stuff like that, and then you do not want to redo it because it took forever. You can again just select everything by alt clicking it, like I mentioned before, and then you just alt shift and then click everything again, and then boom, there you go, you have it. And again, then you can just alt click everything, and then you can move it to like the place you want. So yeah, it's really simple. It's really, really helpful to use, to have this feature with it, so you can like clone, so then you don't have to always remember everything. And again, if you have done something very intricate, now this is just a simple bed frame that I made with this, you know, like this is the original bed frame, but like maybe I want a different maybe I want like a black headboard, but I want I don't know, this, or I don't know, this one. I think like for instance like the default one has a gray headboard, but I want a black one, so like then you can just copy it over. So yeah, I thought I would mention that because I feel like that will be really helpful, and before I knew you could do that, it was a pain, but it's really simple. So it's just alt and shift, and then you have it. Okay, so the thing that I believe at least is a feature that you get together with the tool mod and the Better BuildBuy mod. I think it's if you have both. I can't 100% sure, or I can't for 100% say that that is the truth. It might just be a feature of one of them, but I believe it's a feature if you have both of the mods. I'm not 100% sure, but it's changing the like color of a light, or like the intensity of a light. So if I do this, you might see that I'm able to do this. I'm able to have a completely blue room, or if I want a little bit more of like a bluer white room, or if I want a little bit more of like a warmer tone lamp, or if I want it to be dimmed, I can do that, and I can do that. Now, this is not something, again, that you can do normally. You need these 2 mods to do that. The way you do this is that if you click on it, you will just move it. So what you need to do is shift click, and you will get this. And then you can also decide if you want this light, this room, or all lights. So for instance, like after I placed down like all the lights in a house, I like to do all lights and then put like one of these, depending on what type of build I do, so that they all have the same type of lighting, so that not one room is like warm while the other one is cool. I like to have one type of lighting. But sometimes you just want to change one specific light, and you can do that. And then again, you can change how dim you want it. So if you want it to be like 100%, or if you want it to be like, I don't know, maybe you want it to be really dark, but you still want a light in there. I don't know. You can do that, and then you can also change colors, and you can use a color wheel. Like, look at this. If I want it to be red, but I want it to be a little bit more like a little bit red, I can do that. I can do that. It's amazing. And I can also use this to have it dark, or like a brighter pink, or like a darker pink, and stuff like that. And I like doing that sometimes on like neon lights or whatever in different rooms. So I really like that. One of the lights I like doing it on is this light that we got from the Party Essentials kit, because I really like this light, but sometimes I don't want it to be blue. Like, let's say if I have a room that's more purple, I can have purple. And yeah, I really like that. And then if I delete this, you can see that it's more purple. Like the default one is blue, but then you can just pick like whatever color you want, and it's amazing for like neon lights. The same with this light that we got from the Moschino stuff pack. Like this one, I want a purple, I can have a purple. I want a blue, I want a blue. I don't want the default pink one, I want like a green one. I can do that. So I love that feature so much, and I use it all the time. And I feel like sometimes you might see me do this in a room and you might be like, what is that? That's not a feature of the game, but it is with this. So yeah, some people don't know about this, so I thought I would mention it, but I love doing that. The last thing I believe that I want to go through is a little bit more about the Better Build and Buy mod. Like I mentioned before, there are some exceptions of things that you can't rotate and stuff like that together with the Better Build and Buy mod. So again, with the tool mod right here, like I said before, you can rotate almost anything. Like I showed you before here, like you can rotate almost anything, but some things you can't, and those are things from the live edit menu, which is again, with the Better Build and Buy mod, you can access them. So an example of this is this wheel that we got from the Strangerville, or this tire, I guess, that we got from the Strangerville game pack, which is from, again, the live edit menu. Maybe you want to rotate it. Maybe you want it to be upright, like 90 degrees. You can't do that. Like, see, nothing happens. And I don't know why this is the case. And now see here, I did the 90 degrees. And I'm trying to rotate it. It's not working. It's doing this. And it's really funny. Normally it rotates like this, but because I did the 90 degrees, but it didn't actually do anything, it just changed so I can do this. Which, to be fair, you might be able to use this as a decoration. I don't know. But I find this hilarious. Like, I have made so many jokes with my friends about this because it's hilarious. Now, I don't know why this is the case. Not everything is. Like, specifically when it comes to, like, rotation, not everything you can rotate, which is a little bit annoying. But I think that's just like how the game is wired. That is not TwistedMexi's fault. Like, that is just how it is, and it's really annoying sometimes, but I just thought I'd mention it. Another thing that you can't rotate, I know because I've tried so many times, are these things that are, again, from the live edit menu from, I think they're, yeah, they're base game. And I like using these in base game homes sometimes, and they have a couple of different colors, so like maybe you want just a black rod. However, you can't rotate them. Sometimes I wanted it to be, like I wanted to lay down instead of being straight up, and so I do 90, and again, it just disappears. I genuinely have no idea where it ends up, and I've tried to see, like, even if it, like, disappears downwards or upwards, but no, it's just gone. And that's really annoying, and I'm not sure where that is from. Also, now I'm doing minus just because, like, backwards, because I didn't want that thing to just randomly be here. But yeah, so that there's certain things that you can't rotate, but most things you can. Like, I think it's like 95% of things you can. But if you are rotating things and you're like, why did it disappear, or why is it doing this thing? It's just because that's how the game is. Again, it's not TwistedMexi's fault. It's just how the game is, and it's really annoying, but again, it's just how it is. But yeah, so that is my video showing you how I use the tool mod and the Better Build and Buy mod, and I hope this has been helpful for at least some of you. And again, these are made by TwistedMexi, which is an incredible modder for this game, and so go and follow them everywhere. I will leave a link to their socials and their website and everything down below. And yeah, I hope you guys found this helpful, and I hope you all have a good day. But yeah, bye!